Great. We like our
Do you guys know anybody who says legs?
Legs,
Hey,
like
hey,
with
hey.
an accent like that? Who says that? What region? Legs.
I think it's like there's a bit of like Pennsylvania and South Jersey that say legs. Like Rebecca said legs the other day, and I was like, guys.
I think it's just a different tax bracket.
We're gonna have to amputate your legs. That amputate? Would they say? What other
Legs.
words would they say? That's what I was trying to think
Legs.
of. It's recording, I believe. Yeah.
Oh,
Tash, you know people who say legs?
Say what now?
Legs, like they don't say, they're like, oh, my leg hurts.
I don't know people.
You
who say
do
that.
actually, because our friend Rebecca says.
Oh, she does say leg. It's weird.
maybe it's a speech
I
impediment.
think it might be like mid, west.
Did she say
I was
border
gonna
or no?
say mid east.
The Middle East says it.
Do you consider an accent to be a speech impediment?
No.
Yeah, I don't really either, but I mean, you could make the argument.
You
Depending
could.
what accent. Some accents are more.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
you say
like
a
old
kid.
Brooklyn
No.
people that like my aunt
Open
and
the
uncle.
door.
Yeah, they like it's ridiculous. Like they call me Jenner,
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Stacy.
and they say like what are some of the funny things that they say? Uncle Bernie.
I don't know, your aunt, who now lives in Cali, she definitely says what's the thing, right?
Couple two tree.
Couple two.
You just
things.
said ant about
You
a
said
person,
aunt?
not an animal.
What do you say?
I
aunt?
actually have had an Aunt Sheila and an Aunt Sheila and an Aunt Ann.
No way.
And I feel like Ann is one of those names. It's like, how do you go
Ann.
Aunt Ann?
You named
Ann, yeah,
you
right.
named all your ants in your ant farm?
I've never had an ant farm.
You should do an intro so you don't get lost in the sauce.
I
when you
know,
try
I
to
do
run it.
intros later. But yeah, I usually do the intros.
Yeah.
So I kind of get on that. Welcome to Jokenoise. These are our daily updates. I'm Alex Grubard. Who are you?
I'm Ryan Rummel.
Yeah, and this is our show. We're here all the time. And please welcome our guests today, Jenna and Dutch, right? Come on, from Deep Space.
Woo, woo.
Deep Space Gallery. So you guys run a business.
We run a business.
Good God, how it seems impossible. I
we're,
can't even.
we're hemorrhaging money.
You guys are you know that's how it starts.
Yeah, we lost all our money.
Yeah. You spend it all.
Oh,
Yeah.
put that on. We gotta spend all
Spend
our money.
money.
Spend money.
Oh,
That's a good.
no.
All
That's
of
good. Don't be willy nilly.
Spend money to make money.
Spend money to make money.
But spend it all.
Spend it quick.
What about just using your old chalk?
Do
know?
that too. Use
Oh,
what you got for
Right.
sure. But if you need more chalk,
Do you have enough chalk there?
I have all the chalk that I've
spent.
ever
This is
bought.
the last of the money.
There's
maybe
a
we
whole
should,
bag
oh,
right
we
here.
should
There's a whole bag of used chalk.
invest in chalk.
Use what you've got.
yes.
What do we have? Chalk. Chalk comes up a lot on these daily updates.
Yes.
What we're trying to do with these daily updates are obviously update everybody about what we're doing.
Everyone
each
keeps
day.
asking them, what are you doing in there?
We really haven't
You
been
don't- you're not
updating
sure.
people on exactly what we've been doing yet. I've been sending out plenty of emails and messages and DMs and things like that, I would say. That's a big part of what we've been doing.
Oh,
and
I
chalk.
see.
But Chuck, we've been doing these recordings.
Yep.
We've been doing other
I
recordings.
send out well wishes to a lot of people.
And,
Wishing you
yeah,
well.
I've been talking to people in this space, in this whole, we're not the only thing here. We're live in SIP Studios. We're not live. We're living here, basically. We're sleeping here. That I've been doing.
I did take a nap here the other day.
You did do
Yes.
that?
After that big burrito. I turned off all the lights and took a nap.
I feel like definitely what's happening right now is it's going to be like inside jokes that like, yeah, I remember that burrito that you were talking about.
We heard about that burrito.
Oh, we told
Best
you guys.
burrito we ever had.
Where was that? It was around the corner.
Yeah, me, Mariachi Taqueria.
Mm.
Who are known for their tacos.
Yes.
Little do
Says
we
Yelp.
know
I went with a burrito though. I was happy.
Sleepy burrito.
about the sleepy burrito.
Yeah, that's the problem. You eat it in the middle of the day, you sleep at the office.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Some might say.
But you gotta use what you got, you know?
Yes.
To get what you want.
So yeah, we have been So these are the things we've been doing. Recording these daily updates is a part of it. And yeah, you organized all your notebooks. It was good.
Yeah, I
You
did
start
organize
talking
my
about
notebooks. That was important to
That
me.
was like the key reason
Yeah,
that I understood that he was.
That was the initial domino. Well, maybe the initial domino was weeding out the stone because that's how you found this place.
This all began in 2015. Yeah, no, I mean, well, yeah, I guess we haven't really talked about that. We'll probably talk about it when we have Mark Henley and Ben Miller on at some point. They showed us this space initially, or they clued me in. I think they showed up at Pet Shop one day. I'm in Crockpot at Pet Shop every third Thursday here in Jersey City, and they showed up and they're like, "There's another comedy show tonight," and it was here.
Right.
And we started, and then they came to me later and we're like, we're thinking about trying to throw a show there. We kind of met about it. I wound up emailing this place and things happened quickly. It was that first time I came here, I walked out with dates for Waiting Out the Stoned.
Yeah.
Got one coming up a week from Saturday, February 26th. Another
You're
one
gonna do
April
that here?
9th. Yeah, we're going to do Weeding here twice. This first one is like an initial, we're going to do a show, but we're doing kind of a trial run on how to like film it here, how to live stream.
Troubleshoot some of the state-of-the-art equipment they have now.
They're literally they're installing equipment right now.
Yeah.
I mean, this place is crazy. We've, because we've started to, be here, every weekday for February, let's say. Bring them on.
Yeah.
Answer it. You're always at work.
Well, long time caller.
Mom,
Yeah.
Babs.
Babs, dialing in.
I know, my parents call me during the day when they think I definitely don't do anything. This happens all the time.
But full circle, we got one of our shows on to JC Fridays, which
Right.
is the Art Friday, and I did a tour and met Deep Space through one of the JC Fridays, I think.
Oh,
So that's one of those words, real quick. Tour.
tour.
Is it tour or tour? I'm
Tour.
more of a tour guy.
I'm a tour
He's
guy.
a tour.
Tour, yeah.
Tour.
Tour.
Two of
Wait,
them.
We didn't meet you.
Tourist.
A oneer and a
We
tour.
didn't meet you at a Jersey,
You met him at our
JC Fridays.
I think so.
Jersey City Art Studio.
studio
JCast.
tour, which is like
Yeah.
the
Okay,
granddaddy of First Friday.
It's
Right.
like the
Friday.
once a year first Friday, right?
I was on a bike tour, an art bike tour.
Tour.
Am I not saying it right?
Yeah. Right. So how long have you guys all known each other? Or when was that Jcast?
7 years? No,
4,
4.
5 years?
4.
I would have to look at the phone. Are we looking at phones during our recordings?
I don't know. I can't look at mine.
Let's see what the chalk tells us.
Okay.
It says yes. I'll find it lickety split. And then we've changed, and then you guys gave me a show there.
Well, you kind of commandeered the show there.
Oh, was there initially a different show?
Well, there's a different host.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you told me to get rid of the host.
I mean,
Oh,
we mutually agreed to get rid of the host. I think you asked us if you can get rid of the host, and we
It was more
coalesced.
like-
Is that the word?
No.
No. We didn't
Um,
coalesce.
Well,
it was more like you'd probably spearhead the show better.
He didn't. The other host didn't remember the comedians' names. He was on Tinder the whole time.
Oh, God.
It
Well,
was, it was a scene, and he. Sorry if you're watching, but you're not funny. You have no punchlines. Get some punchlines.
Cut that part out.
well, I don't have any punchlines either. So, it's just how comedy is. I'll defend stand-up comedy to the end.
put that on
Ends
the
of the
board.
year.
Punchlines.
Fuck. I should start doing that. I'm emailing people non-punchlines. Is that a
We need
problem?
punchlines.
Yeah. But then I'm giving them
But the name has
punchlines.
taken
Oh.
many forms. We've been Riff on the Roof, Riff
Riff on the cliff.
Riff on the
There's
cliff.
OJ.
Riff in the Room, and we're gonna go back to
The Cliff.
On
The
the
Cliff. Gotta find a guy named Cliff.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of different shows, in a way.
Yeah, we've been doing monthly, and then we tried twice a month.
Yeah,
It wasn't enough.
No, we started every 2 weeks.
I think
Yeah,
I remember that.
twice a week. on Friday, Saturday, but then we started booking comedians that couldn't make those dates, so we moved it to
The Sunday.
Sunday.
Sundays have been working for a while now.
I think that's the day.
Sunday
Yeah.
is a great day for comedy.
Yeah.
Great day for art.
Heck yeah,
And
it is a good art day. And yeah, Jersey City, I mean, it's definitely, I think when I mean, obviously that show is so fun. I remember, like, just when I moved here about 4 years ago, a little more than, that was one of the first shows I started going to regularly and was like, this is the coolest show in town, easily. You know, is how I felt about it. Like, it had that kind of vibe. There were a bunch of shows. Now things are obviously different. It's also one of the shows that
Comedy's
lasted
like
through the
taking
pandemic.
over Jersey City right now. I don't know what's happening
By
with
comedy, you
guys.
mean Ryan and I?
Yeah.
No, I know. It's if
Don't
anyone
listen-
else wants to jump in on to make some joke noise, feel free to jokenoise@gmail.com. Send an email.
Yep.
Guess
Because
who's
we,
emailing?
at least, like, for the first 2 years that we had the gallery, we're big comedy fans, and we were like, we want a comedy show. There was no comedy going on in Jersey City. There was not like,
but we didn't know about it. We didn't actively seek it out.
I would ask people all the time, like, where are our peers who do comedy? And there had been that comedy festival that Craig something or other,
Craig Mahoney.
yes, had done like
Guy
a
from
couple
Super
years
Bowl.
before, and I was like, where are those, like, I didn't go to that comedy festival. I just remember, like, I was like, oh, there's a Jersey City Comedy Festival, but then, you know, it was like that was the only comedy noise really that I heard.
Ah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. When I moved up here, I messaged a few people that I knew were running shows that I found through the internet somehow, but maybe only 2 or 3.
And they were like at a bar. There was that one that was at
The lamppost
cafe.
used to do.
Oh, the lamppost.
The
had a
lamppost is
regular one.
something I get obsessed about because when I moved to Philadelphia from New York, before I moved to Philly, I knew of the lamppost that New Yorkers did go into Jersey City to do the
Didn't a
lamppost.
famous comedian
I
do
think
the
a lot
lamppost
of them
and they
did.
remembered?
He met
Yeah, a lot of guys,
He's
I
think
guess,
like,
quote
you know,
unquote,
Michael
made
Che,
it. They're-
right?
Oh, yeah, Michael
yeah,
Che.
Che used to
Michael
do,
Che
he
would-
lived in Jersey City, I think, at that time.
He would pop in because no one knew him in Jersey City. So no one knew him, and then the next week they were like, "Oh, by the way, that kid's been coming into Lamppost. He's on SNL
He's
now."
got 2 specials on Netflix.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Already, yeah. No, so I remember hearing about the lamppost, and I think the lamppost to me is this kind of like, what was going on there? Where is the lamppost
Did they
now?
still have a show?
There, it's a different
Closed.
place. It's not
Oh.
the
It's
bar's
been open for
closed. But that's a thought. It was a rumor I heard once years ago. Like, I don't know if you guys know who Eugene Merman is and stuff. Him and Bobby Tisdale used to have this show, Invite Them Up, in like the mid 2000s at Rafifi's in Manhattan on like 11th Street. That was very popular. It was a Comedy Central triple album out of it and stuff, and that they actually recorded at pianos. And that Rafifi's is now a Buffalo Exchange. And I've heard that they are sometimes think about throwing shows in that Buffalo Exchange, like
Yeah.
bringing back Invite Them
Yeah,
Up.
those hallowed
How
grounds,
cool!
you
What
know,
a cool
like-
idea that is to me. That's the coolest thing anybody could do in comedy to me. I'm a big Eugene Merman fan.
I mean,
Anyway,
Bring it
I
back
know it kills
to
the
the
room when you
lamppost.
tell people you like Eugene Merman. So, Gene on Bob's Burgers.
Well, yeah.
Everybody loves him. But anyway, so I don't know. I mean, Jersey City, like, I remember that lamppost. I think about that as like one of those types of places where, like, oh, do you just go to what could it be?
were those all open mics?
No,
I
they were booked. They were like booked mics. You could just show up; they'd throw you up. But also, people were invited.
This is kind of a system.
Melissa Surach.
She ran it, right?
She ran it. It was a show called Baby Hole. Very offensive.
She
type of
did.
name.
She downplays it. I try and pick her brain about the lamppost, and I get all comedy nerdy, romanticize something that, like, yeah, I never saw, probably was fine. I'm sure it was cool enough.
But you heard about it. You were like,
I knew that, like, people would drop in. I mean, if you're making the trek from Brooklyn to Jersey City to do an open mic, and you're, Michael Che, you're getting booked a lot, like, there's probably something there. And even if he lived here then.
It was
But like, I
competitive.
remember like, I think Mark Norman, he wasn't the guy that I'm sure.
Mark Norman
I
came
knew
in,
Mark
Mike
would do it.
Racine,
Yeah,
Dan St.
so-
Germain, a lot of fun guys.
Yeah, I remember.
Dina
hearing about it.
Hashem would pop in.
I think that like once in a blue moon they would check it out, but it was like, you know, I knew about it back then. And whatever,
Rojo
09.
Perez, he has
I mean,
his
this
own
was
special
forever
now.
ago. So I don't know. I mean, this town's also changing drastically. Places that you're like, this used to be a bar, probably is now a condo. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
It's also not really historically a nightlife town. So to create a lot more nightlife in a certain type of thing, I mean, we see it with music too here. And we definitely see it with burlesque. I mean, burlesque is like illegal in Jersey City somehow, which is one of those things like, I guess, why wouldn't you just like start writing about that? Because it's so absurd, either comedy sketches or whatever even. But like, you'd think that would almost make the news. I mean,
I forget what they called it. I mean, it did make the news a few years ago.
yeah, right.
But I think it's like, I forget what the clause is called. It's not like debauchery clause, but
Right,
it's
it's something like that. It's like promiscuity
It's not
or something.
obscenity
stupid.
either, but it's something
not. I
weird.
looked it
It's
up.
Yeah.
awful, and it should be stopped, and I agree. I put up signs and protest right outside the church, but they're not doing it in the church, are they?
No.
What if we just do a show called Illegal
Should
Burlesque?
do it in the church.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, it is. I've looked it up. It's something. I think what they tried to do essentially was in like the 20s or the 40s or whatever is like they tried to outlaw
Strip
strip clubs and
There's
like
no strip clubs in
and like
Jersey
live
City.
music like nightclubs, and that there are no strip clubs in Jersey City, and that's definitely a clear.
Problem.
Well, I would say it's necessarily a problem. I don't know. I'm not. I don't
Just
really.
wanted to finish or something.
It's fine. I know. The burlesque thing. I'm more like, what the fuck are you doing, guys? That's absurd that you would not do burlesque. No, I'm kidding. That you would outlaw something like that. Outlawing strip clubs is obviously like stupid. Also, I mean, the fact that like, I mean, I don't know. Now we're getting deep in the weeds, but like, because I was gonna start talking about like gambling. Welcome to New
Yeah,
Jersey.
I think it was kind
they
of
tried to
like,
bring gambling to Jersey.
So they did, and it's. I'm sure. I don't know that story, but of course, you know, they try to bring gambling everywhere.
Burlesque casino on Liberty State Park. Boom. Just put it to bed.
I mean, if you do, what if you were a person that did want to open that business? I think it's insane to open any business.
Well, you gotta be involved with the lizard people. You
yeah,
gotta have a lot of money. And like,
exactly. I know you're gonna get fined here, but maybe it's worth it.
but Deep Space was a business that survived the pandemic. You guys are still around.
yeah.
We're still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any upcoming events?
Mm-hmm.
We do. We're on the tail end of our miniature show.
Everyone loves the mini shows.
Everyone loves the miniature show. It's all small works up until the end of February, and then opening a women's show at the beginning of March.
How many women will you have
All
on
of the
display?
Only women's.
Oh. Are they doing
It's
burlesque?
illegal. Yeah,
Oh.
right. It's illegal, Ryan.
Okay.
We just went
So
over
hush hush.
that. Yeah.
The hush hush ladies show.
We actually don't know for sure how many there will be, but there will probably be anywhere from 6 to 12
That's great.
women artists.
And this is what, our third or fourth year doing
Fourth.
it? Our fourth year doing it.
And it's always like the show is always titled something related to, like our original show was called The Mothership,
Right.
because like we went through so many names trying to figure out what do we name the women's show without it sounding like something ridiculous.
I know.
Mothership at Deep Space, and it's always a spaceship giving birth. It looks like that's all the art.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was really funny. Like I still have the list of names of titles that we were trying to come up with for an all-women show, and it was just like everything sounds so like belittling and like patronizing.
Yeah.
Did you pick
Like
one
flower
yet?
power.
Right.
We're leaning
Exactly.
towards Mothership Connection.
The Mothership
Oh,
Connection.
that's cool. Yeah, Mothership is cool.
It
And
is.
Billico
It worked
Deep
Corp.
out.
Space too. That's great.
No, that like so the first year was the Mothership. The second year was the Return of the Mothership.
Oh, cool.
Very Jedi.
Yeah.
The Return of the Mothership. The third year during the pandemic was the mother shipment because we were shipping all the
Oh,
art.
Oh,
good
that's a
idea.
good one.
That's a
Online
really good
exclusive.
idea. That's a good name. See, once you lock into something that's base that you like, you can kind of like
You
have
can
a-
play around, but
yeah.
you could also get like really corny about it because like we have now it's our 4th year. What's it gonna be? It's like the mothership landing, and we're like, no, that
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Well, the rule of
Mother-
3, you could just break off and do a different
But then we'd have to find another women's.
stepmom's home. Could it be that?
Just try. Throw some out.
Stepmom's stepmom's art.
That honestly feels like a sitcom that I could write. I mean,
Stepmom's
yeah.
home. Yeah, so yes, give me some. What do you think would be a good all-women show name? Because it's International Women's Day in March 8th, and it's also National Women's Month.
Right.
What about like Daughter of Mothership? Like kind of like an old horror movie.
Yeah, see,
title?
like that would be cool.
I'm not familiar with this film.
Me neither, but it just sounds.
It's not. No, like it sounds like.
It's
an
like
old film.
Daughters
There isn't.
of
There
Liberty.
isn't really a film. See, I tricked you guys. You guys
Like,
thought
you know what I
it
mean?
was a movie.
Okay.
Doesn't Daughters of Liberty sound like?
Like the Bride of Dracula.
Daughters of
Yeah.
Liberty sound
That kind of thing,
patriotic.
though. Something
Yeah.
along those lines.
Yeah.
Bride of Mothership. actually.
Daughters of
Mother-
wait, Daughters of Liberty
yeah.
stopping the steal.
It does have. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I was saying if you wanted us to do Rule of 3, stop the mothership. Give me some ideas
Yeah,
of what could be a women's
well,
all
this
women
is
show.
a think tank.
Your
That's-
I'm trying to come up. I thought I had some good ideas. No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
So you know.
Yeah, no, I think sticking with something with Mothership is cool.
Ladies' night. Girls' night out.
Mother burlesque.
I think something burlesque is going on the board. Because honestly, it's such a hot button issue. And welcome to Chilltown, baby. We're doing burlesque now. I don't know.
Hot button.
Yeah. Here's the problem. Yeah.
The mothership.
Hmm?
Hot button.
Hot button.
Fun. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That time of the month
I think-
show.
Hot button is good, I think.
Hot button is good.
Yeah.
Hot button is really good.
To quote Melissa Surach, delicious garbage day.
A lot of name drops on this this episode of Jersey City Comics. I know. I feel like these are great. I mean, that's the kind of town Jersey City is. I feel like too, where you want like local and like specific shows. You know, I think that's part of it. You know, things tailored to where they are and
Totally.
what kind of
Not your mother's art. I'm still doing
Not your
names.
mothership.
Yeah,
not
not
your
mother's
mothership.
ship.
Not your mother's ship.
Because you're not, well, I
Not
guess
your
you would
mothership.
still ship, but you know.
That, as
solely.
a woman, I don't feel good about either.
Yeah.
What about?
Good thing you don't have a vote.
Mothership, motherfucker.
The suffragettes.
December Jets?
I mean, that sounds cool. December.
It sounds like it makes me think
I-
of the Blue Angels. Or
He was
something.
talking about the vote, so that's what
Yeah.
I said, the suffragettes.
Oh, the
Like-
suffrage.
Stop women's suffrage now.
The suffrage jets, but like a jet like a spaceship.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the suffering jets.
Yeah.
You know,
Ooh.
because
Suffering
we
jets sounds like a
suffer
punk
as
band.
women so much.
Right, girl.
Childbirth.
You know,
Yes, the birthers.
the birthers.
Ooh.
Just take it back.
The birthers.
We got a whole new thing.
Birth and art.
Oh.
Birth art.
Birthart.
Birth art.
Birthart.
One word, so people.
Birthert.
Birth art. With an E, make it fancy at the end.
Art.
Extra
Like
vowels
arte.
make
I don't know if it's saying what we needed to say anymore. You know?
Now it's just an inside joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do the all women show in March, and then we'll be doing 2 in between shows, and then a fun show with a Philly
collective. Well, not really. Curated by a
Sean Lugo.
former local artist, Sean Lugo. Sean 9 Lugo.
Crackhead birds guy. And teddy bear heads.
Oh, I know what you're
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about.
I'll get you.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
He's curating
yeah.
a show of street artists.
Well, sick.
Only our
I
second,
think-
our second ever curated show.
Oh,
by
really?
us.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
We always curate.
Guest
all of our
curator
shows
show.
are
I think a brewery took his art, put it on a beer can, and I've never been able to find that beer, but I've been looking.
They did. I think it's a Philly-based beer company.
Right, yeah, that's
Oh.
why it's a little hard.
There's only so many.
But I've gone into some.
Was it Yards?
No,
No.
it wasn't Yards. I
Yards
don't know
is
what it
big.
was, but
They do
Love.
local artists though, like art.
he's gonna be curating a show. When is that? June,
June,
with some local artists, some artists from around the country,
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Nice. Very cool. Now that sounds regional. What you said, how you pronounced
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Maybe we can go tour Hawaii.
Tour Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
on our leagues. Gonna be the second league of our tour.
Leg, yeah, oh god, the
Which
legs
league of the
tour-
art
tour.
tour is? We're in Hawaii this
You
month.
can check out the
man.
water in Hawaii.
Watch
Yeah.
water. That's always good stuff. I don't know. I prefer water to water. Like to
I
drink.
say water, yeah.
Yeah. No, I
I
mean
like
that.
mine with
Yeah.
a little wood in my.
Are you guys are both from Jersey?
Mm-hmm.
So north, south,
I'm a northerner.
Central. The
central?
elusive Central Jersey.
I didn't know if I should say it or not.
Yeah.
I know it's a thing I know it maybe not exists, but
It
it's a thing.
exists. It's real.
It's
I was
even-
there, and then I've lived in Philly for a while. Did 7 years in Philly.
Oh, I did basically the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only
I wonder if
5.
you guys overlapped at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I lived there 3 times technically also.
I left in 2008.
2003 to 2008.
You didn't.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah,
did.
yeah.
You were there at
not.
the same time?
I was like, that's not
You
7
guys-
years.
You guys.
Yeah. Well, you were there in 2001, right?
2001 to 2008.
All right.
South Philly.
How'd you like
West
living
Philly.
in Philly?
Oh, yeah, I don't do West Philly.
Yeah. Well, I don't do South Philly.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
How'd you like living in Philly?
I liked it. There, no loss.
Yeah, Philly's
Just do whatever
great.
you want.
Philly's a great place. Yeah, I was there in 05, 06, and then for like 6 months at a time, and then 2011 to 2018. About, yeah. So kind of overlapped. I was, I went to Temple, so like I would have been around that age.
You know Connie's Rick Rack?
Yeah, oh, and then when I moved back, a lot of shows at Connie's Rick Rack.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
there when they first started that place.
Oh, crazy when
the
it's
guy Joe that
when it was the
passed away.
bric-a-brac. Yeah, right, exactly.
Bric-a-brac.
A lot of our artists went to Temple.
Yeah, man, Temple's a big art. There's a huge art program. Even when
Yeah,
people
like,
are
all
not
the
in the art
coolest
school.
artists
Is it
come out of
Tyler?
Temple.
Dude, Temple was great. I fucking loved Temple.
I can't tell. How do you? How,
I have
what
a
do you
hat
got,
on
a
right
hat?
now. This is the only Temple gear I have. And
but you never take it off, so.
I know. I got this because I was freezing cold only like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was this or a plain black hat, and I was like, I went to Temple.
Peeking out of it.
Yeah, dude, I know.
Yeah, Temple's cool. And we really like the artists are not only talented, but the artists that came out of there were like really cool artists that we like consider fam.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of Philly artists in general, though.
Yeah, a lot of Philly
Temple,
artists.
PAFA, University of the Arts.
Yeah. I mean, there were shows all over. Like, Philly was a great comedy scene. You would deal with a lot of artists and stuff. Like,
So their
the
comedy
galleries.
scene was like popping when you were there.
I thought it was a phenomenal scene when I was
They've
there.
had a
I think
strong
it's
scene
still
I
for
thought
very
so, yeah. I mean,
Do
I
they
you
have
know, it's just,
like bar closing hour rules in
It's
Philly?
like earlier.
yeah, it's like
more
in New York.
Jersey, right?
It's like
2
2
a.m.
2, yeah. There's some
Are there
after
any
hours
Jersey
places,
City
but no, it's like
bars
it's a
open
calmer
bars?
Yeah.
lifestyle too. Like
Republican Club.
a lot of someone described it to me when I was living there, something like it's not that you're always out till 4, it's that you're always out. You're out almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's a pretty, like, you would run into people all the time. Sure, it's a big city, but like you're always going through Center City.
Yeah.
It's impossible to avoid.
And
Whereas
it's easy to get around. It's
it
like
is,
a grid. It's like
yeah,
bikeable, walkable.
there's a lot of main areas, main drags like Frankfurt and like whatever's going on in South Philly. Huh?
Philly, or people
You
don't?
can. There would
Most people
I would
don't.
go years just walking.
Yeah.
Honestly,
train just
like
goes
not
like
even
that
using
way.
the train.
So you could walk to a person
And
in
it stops. The
totally
train
different
stops.
Once I
neighborhood.
moved, like I was up at Temple, I was like living just north of Temple, like a block. But then like when I moved, maybe like a 10-minute walk south of Temple, then I mean you're basically in Center City. I'm like right in between the two places I go every
So
day.
you could literally walk.
To go, so I was within a like 25 to 30-minute walk of both comedy clubs. So when I was living there, like you set yourself up for like a nice life where like these are the places you're at most of the time. Then the other thing about Philly's comedy scene is it does feel like everything is on Sansom Street. There's a lot of different places that
so
are
you could
regular.
just like club hop and for your comedy night.
Even if you're not doing it all in the same night, it's not like you're only doing that on Friday and Saturday. You're doing it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you might go into the suburbs or on the road or whatever on weekends. Was kind of a more
why don't
regular
we move
thing.
to Philly, guys?
It's getting expensive. It's not the same. No, I'm kidding. I loved it there. I would honestly, I got nothing against Philly. Philly's so attainable.
There's the
You know what? You adapt. They're fine. I like people from Philly, but they're not.
I'm joking.
They're they're their own breed.
You just
You
don't
know.
wear sports gear.
Yeah, sure.
You're
Yeah, you
clear.
talk Eagles.
You're clear of that
You know,
whole.
as long as you know about it, then you know. But yeah, there would be entire times where it's like this whole. Somebody actually gave me this advice of when I moved there. Philly is so insular that a lot of the people you meet, they've known each other their entire lives, even if they're not like it's just one of those things. They're kind of all still in high school, whatever you want to compare it to, because it's unavoidable.
It's like townies.
They're
It's a
all.
towny city.
I
Yeah.
used to say like the story of everyone from Philly is I moved here from somewhere in Pennsylvania, I moved here from somewhere in New Jersey, or I moved to New York.
Right.
Like they all are from the exact same suburbs, and Philly in our generation of being young adults or whatever, they people didn't really grow up in Philly. Like there's a smaller population. It was going down for a long time. Now it's going up and has been for like 10 years. So even the people that people move away. If you probably grew up in Philadelphia in the 90s, you probably moved out of town.
Yeah.
It's a lot of transplants from the area. I don't know. I'm not looking at stat sheets right now, but that's a feeling
Jersey
I
City is mostly like. I feel like there's a lot of you have your people who grew up in Jersey City that are still here. You have lots of people from Jersey
right.
moved to Jersey City, and now we've got people who lived in New York, and most people who live, say, like in Manhattan and like Brooklyn, like are not from there. But that's not like they're from anywhere.
Right, exactly. That's New
That's
York
the difference.
has a pull from Missouri,
Exactly.
which is like Philly or Jersey City, like really
They don't
doesn't.
have that. But
Or
we
if they
are, now
they
getting,
did a trip in, a
Secondhand,
stop
yeah.
in.
Yeah, we're
exactly.
now getting the people that come from anywhere that live in Manhattan or Brooklyn are now coming to Jersey City. So we're getting that
Yeah,
we're originally from Missouri, but now I'm.
yeah.
I lived in Bushwick for 3 years.
Yeah.
We're getting more comics like that too. We're
Yeah.
noticing it. It's not just families or whatever would
Yeah.
go into all these new luxury condo things that they're putting up. I don't know. I mean, I did it. I came from Philly. I'm not, and I'd already lived in New York, so I did know that you can just be moving around terrible apartments in New York City forever, 1,000 years, before you just settle on some piece of garbage and wait for the neighborhood to come to you or whatever kind of thing that, like I was just talking about being able to walk to
for
2
the
comedy
neighborhood
clubs
to change.
in Philadelphia. In order to get that in New York City, you'd have to like wait 40 years for a comedy club to open in, Sunset Park or something. It's just never gonna happen.
Do you guys think, on that note, that like comedy clubs are needed? Like, do you think that that's something that's,
Can-
say, lacking
Can
in
Jersey City sustain a comedy club 3 nights a week?
Yeah.
I mean, do
It's
the
like-
comedy clubs in New York, do they don't, like, do they open as bars on nights when there's maybe not comedy?
They can.
Well, if you're in the
what's
village,
the
you're
club.
7 days a week.
Yeah, they're
If you're
full-time
any New
comedy.
York club is open 7 days a week.
Like a
But-
real comedy club.
Yeah.
That's the only town, maybe LA, maybe Chicago. No other town really does that.
Yeah,
Even
you
in
can
Austin,
almost-
I bet they primarily don't do that.
So do you
Philly,
think that they're
they're
just
closed
like
on-
got 3
There's no,
nights
like,
a
just-
week?
All week comedy club in Philly. Like a place that just
They're starting to do more of that, but it's
there's just not enough of a draw during the weekdays.
it's you also kind of give your staff a weekend. You know, truth be told, like a lot of people that work in comedy clubs, like wait staff and stuff, I would assume have another. That's the second job. You know, first of all, so like just on that alone. You know, how much staff are you going to have? How big is your space? Also, outside of New York City, most of these clubs are bigger. So they are running a bigger production, a bigger restaurant, essentially. 2 is small, you know,
And do
200. In New
comedy
York
clubs always
City,
have bar food?
100 is big.
They always have bar food because people are sitting to watch a show for, say, an hour?
It's totally not, people are getting more creative out there. So I've seen plenty of places that just do snacks and soda. I think there's something to be said about doing like
With no
Easy
booze?
Mac or something like really like comforty, but not like a treat in its own way, but
Mhm.
not booze. Because obviously booze is one of those things. If anyone in the world, I think like just got a hold of a liquor license sometime, you just how could you not make money? It's just one of those things. Like, you know, is that your whole life is just trying to get a liquor license? Like, get creative. People find loopholes, right? The laws change. I mean, you know, that kind of stuff. I think booze is just one of those, if you're going to try and open a comedy club that has booze in it, you're looking at getting an investor that's going to invest $1 million into a venue or
And
whatever.
we learned from our friends who have a restaurant in Jersey City that liquor licenses in New York are way cheaper than
And
liquor
that's
licenses in
expensive,
Jersey City,
not
I knew that
limited.
too.
which sounds insane.
But that's a reason why there
Yeah.
are
I don't think there's a
Oh,
cap. There's probably no
100,000
cap in
Yeah, I
New
think
York
there's
City.
no cap
yeah,
on
so.
how many there
Right.
can be.
Yeah, she was saying to liquor license and build out alone in New York, you're looking at like 400,000, where like in Jersey City, you're looking at 400,000 just for the liquor license.
Right, but it's like they don't care in New York City because it's crabs in a bucket. They're
Yeah.
all pulling each other
Yeah.
down. Give them all a license; they'll just
Yeah.
pull each other down.
right.
And there's a lot more people to support it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
So a comedy club, like the other ones in Jersey, I don't remember where they all are, you guys
New
do, but like
Brunswick.
they don't have 7 nights a week of comedy. Are they just open as like, are they closed all week except for their 3 nights of comedy?
Unless
So-
they get a big name coming in on a tour
Right.
that has their own draw.
A what?
Or like, yeah,
Tower.
yeah, they're towering.
Tour.
Tour, that's what I'm saying.
Like either or, either tour.
Tour.
Our.
Tour.
Yes.
Our tour.
Sorry,
That's the one
but
in New
the-
Brunswick. the
So
big
Stress
family
Factory.
Stress Factory. They're
Right.
not 7 days a week comedy.
Not to my knowledge, no. Right? I mean, they used
But
to do.
then they don't have like their bar restaurant open otherwise.
I don't think so. Again, because it's like one of those like, are you really gonna go there for food? I'm sure it's
I got an
again
idea.
like that's this thing
Wasn't
like
that
it's a
place,
bar, a restaurant that charges. They really are making money off of tickets and liquor. Like if when you go out to eat on a Tuesday, are you 2-drink minimuming? You know, like.
How
Food,
much does
even
the
at a
place,
comedy club, is a more modern thing. It
Stress
was
Factory's
2-drink
in
minimum.
New Brunswick? Or,
Yeah.
And how much are their shows? Like $20?
Probably. Yeah, give or
20
take.
and up.
Yeah, I'd say it's anywhere from
And do
12
they do
to
the like
35.
2-drink minimum thing there too?
It's probably a
Yeah.
2-item minimum or 2-drink minimum, yeah. And then, because that's like an older club that now, you know, so why wouldn't they have some of those kinds of things?
So
And I'm sure it's
anyone
working,
who's
right?
going
And I
Why
guess
not do
is,
it?
Yeah,
is,
it's not
is
worth
$40
staffing.
out of their pocket just to go there for,
Give or take.
you know, between their ticket
On a
and
weekend.
their 2 things. Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday for sure. You know,
Here,
2
I guess,
shows
like you're saying,
Friday,
with
2
staffing,
shows Saturday.
It doesn't make sense for them to have a whole staff for a
On Monday,
night
Tuesday.
that's not
These places
open.
are big. I
Yeah.
hear it's like it's $1,000 to turn on the lights. You know, it's one of those things based on staffing, electricity, everything.
Yeah.
It's not super small.
They've done the math and it's just not.
Everybody
profitable.
around the country, every club has done the math. It's like why would you be open on a Monday or Tuesday? You would have to you would really have to be passionate about driving some other force, whatever that
But,
means.
like,
Because
how does
everybody's
the,
got
like-
aspirations in one way or the other about like creating content or something, promoting local talent. But unless you're willing to invest $1,000 on a Monday, you know.
But they are bars
Well, they
too.
told us to
So
spend
like
all of our
this is
money.
the
But it's like,
what's
how
what I
many
don't
people are going out?
understand. It's
So
like
you- again,
Lucky
so-
Sevens is open 6 nights a week,
How many people does that seat?
7 nights a week.
You know.
Yeah.
They don't have that. There's no one's paying a ticket entry to go into Lucky Sevens. They're just drinking.
So from talking to like friends that have opened venues and stuff, like it's one of the, like in Philly, there was a theater, good comedy theater. I learned a lot from these guys, and they were phenomenal. They had a 70 seat space. They didn't have liquor or anything like that, and yeah, it was
No
great.
liquor.
Nope, no beer, liquor.
Wow.
And they were open for 3 years, like doing fine. I don't think they were like going crazy, but in the black. But I'm sure they were in the black somehow. I don't know. I'm not looking at their books, but beside the point. Like they were trying when they opened, their like tagline was, every damn night, and it soon. Tagline. So they had, here's some like great ideas they had. One thing they were doing is that, because they did a
Everybody
Kickstarter,
needs them.
they promised a
Taglines. Everybody needs them.
they promised pizza.
Yes, that's good.
Free
Right,
pizza
right
on
back.
Tuesdays.
That's good.
Free pizza on Tuesdays for infinity. And then within a year, that Tuesday was just like not even worth doing, let alone Monday.
They
you
put
know,
out
so
every
they
pizza business
honestly
on a
like
Tuesday.
pizza couldn't even get people there really on a Tuesday. It
How
just
was
like
it
wasn't
like-
worth physically being there
Was it
every day.
location like an issue for that? Like
On a Tuesday? We're just talking Tuesdays. I mean, they as they put it to me,
My friends have
they
a bar
make
in Jersey
money
City.
on
They close
the
on Monday and
weekends.
Tuesdays. It's just not.
well, that's just because they need some days to be closed and not have to worry
no,
about.
because no one's coming in. That's why.
Yeah, Mondays have to be like, you know who Monday is good for? Like college students, people like that is a good audience. I've seen places
And
have
it's
a
probably
decent
like a
audience on
place
a
like
Monday.
Lucky Sevens
Very rarely,
does it
though.
right because it's smaller, and a bunch of other places are closed. So it's just like there's still people who want to drink on a Monday or Tuesday, but
Service industry bar on Monday. Tuesday.
Yeah, service
That too,
industry. So
yeah,
you got to
that's
tailor
their
it
weekend,
to
right?
that. Like you're just not gonna make
Here's what
money.
we do.
really.
Comedy, church, tax loophole.
Tackle,
Right.
bait and tackle.
Tax loophole, and then you sell booze as you don't sell it. You sell a membership
Non-profit.
fee, and that's a sacrament. Boom, money.
I think
Church, comedy church,
Mega church.
mega church, comedy mega church,
Uh,
where we only close during natural disasters and don't let people in.
well, I don't know. I mean, I think a
Tour de
club.
force. You know that term? I just
What is
learned
that?
it. Tour de
It's two
Oh,
words.
Oh no, sorry, not
Tour
tour
de
de force.
force.
Sorry, no, not that. I got confused. A force majeure.
Oh, what is that?
It was in our contract to do an art fair.
Talk about the contract. That's part of the contract.
I'm not saying who it was. I'm just saying
Okay.
we did an art fair, and it was like, you're signing up for this and giving us your money, and you're never getting it back, even in the case of a force majeure, i.e., tornado,
Right. Oh.
mass suicides, bombs.
That's why, you know what? This is also why I had heard this word before. Right.
Mass suicide.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, that's what most of
Suicide,
your
flood.
shows happen. That's
Right, yeah, that's what you're doing.
Volcanic,
That's the show.
volcanic eruptions.
Nor'easter.
Mother eruption.
Oh, I love it. No, yeah. So I mean, that's like, I don't know. I think a club in Jersey City could totally be viable, but I think it's one of those things where it's either under 50 seats because you're kind of competing with New York in that way, or it's massive and you're getting a crazy investor and it's probably a
I think it
chain and they're
can't be a
moving into a
comedy.
mall.
I think
You
it. I
know?
think it couldn't be a comedy club only.
I think like that's another thing where like Jersey City, the market is so wide open that like also why would you restrict yourself to doing comedy? I've also talked and heard comedy club managers and owners talk about the idea of keeping comedy out of the name of your venue because it instantly turns off weddings, birthday parties,
exactly.
and
Just
conferences, any
why
other
can't
event.
you be Lucky Sevens that 3 nights a week you have comedy nights?
So people just don't think ahead, I like that, and a lot of places are doing very well without doing that, and then some places you go play venues in the middle of nowhere. I think there's a lot where they'll have a stage, and it'll be in the worst possible place to have put a stage in their venue. It was clearly an afterthought, and then you're like, and I'm here to do this show. I just want to grab the owner and be like, what was your plan? Like, what was the initial idea? Who did you want hanging out here? Who did you want? And obviously the answer would be, I've never thought about it. And this is the first time it's come up. And you're like, what did you think? How did you fucking get a liquor license? How did you figure it out? You're going to fail in 6 months. And somehow
and a lot of
you
those places do.
corrupted your way into getting one, or who the hell knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times people just are kind of like throwing in, they're just
500 grand, I know, whatever, somehow I can figure it out.
yeah, especially with booze. It's kind of like, how could
you lose?
How could I this not work out? Like, who doesn't want booze?
It's the idea is absurd.
Yeah.
It's so funny, the idea of like not make, because even you hear like $500,000 and you're like, yeah, how many fucking drinks is that?
Yeah.
100,000?
Yeah.
It's not that crazy on a
No, and
Saturday
like, how many
night.
nights
you
do I need?
10,000.
How many exactly? Like,
You
how
know?
many times over is that going to take? Like,
How many 2-drink
we-
minimums do you really need on a Saturday
we
night?
thought about kind of going through the process
250,000.
of turning the downstairs into an actual venue. But first of all, like, once you go into the process of doing all the things that the city technically wants you to do for any given space, that you have to deal with all kinds of stuff from zoning
Yeah, exactly.
to building
Permits,
codes to
permits.
yeah, exactly. And it's complicated, and it's not doable. It's doable, but we
Right.
started to be like, is this ever gonna like it was after we already began our submission process and put in like a few grand that we didn't have
Right.
that
yeah.
And
we
we realized
realized, wait a
many
second,
grand away.
like
Yeah.
I remember one day we were sitting down and I'm like, how is this ever gonna work if we can't distribute booze? Like
Right.
And like,
if
and
because
our
even
capacity
like
was
bring
so
your
low.
own is technically not allowed.
I know, and so
So
I
we
think
were
it's
like-
one of those you got to not think of it that way. Honestly,
We were just like that. I was like, does it make sense for us to keep proceeding with the idea of a venue because people wanted a venue? Like we kept hearing that because we were having local musicians come play. Everybody was like, yeah, like we need this, and we were gonna be able to get approval to do that. But then we were like, but we're always gonna be in this like legal gray zone
And
of
the
like you're not
capacity
like.
was so low.
How are you going to have a nightlife spot where it's technically illegal for people to be drinking in your establishment? Like,
yeah.
and there's no bar next door that we could be like, go get your drinks and
yeah.
come back over.
So now your whole target market and demographic is entirely different. Another huge thing is like parking. Let's say you're selling out every weekend.
It's a
Parking is
huge
an
thing.
issue.
People ask us
I've
all
thought
the time.
about
They
it,
say, is there parking at your spot? And we're like, there's endless parking.
Yeah, right. I've thought about it a lot. Is that like doing one of the malls here in town is probably viable because it's probably a huge space for not realistically a lot of money. I mean, you still probably need some sort of investor, but it's even probably a low investment for an investor considering you're probably accepting the fact that you're not going to be there forever
Mhm.
because you're not. It's gonna
But
close.
who's going to be
You
your
have infinite
crowd?
parking.
Who's going to be your crowd,
The
though?
county.
Yeah, I mean, there's comedy
People
clubs
with
in
cars.
malls all over the country, right?
You know, you feel. I think it's exactly.
But I would
It's actually
say-
a pretty like common system right now because
That's
it's a low
interesting.
overhead, considering. It's also you deal with a lot less maintenance and hassle that you know some of these clubs that are legendary clubs that I romanticize. The reason they close is because that building falls the fuck apart. You know, it's just after a while, it's gone. Nobody's gonna renovate
And
it.
I don't think I don't know. You guys know, I'm sure way better than like we didn't go into art because we were like, this is a great business opportunity.
Of course,
And
yeah.
I think it's the same thing that anyone who's running a comedy club is doing it because they love comedy, not because they're like, I'm gonna make a killing in this field.
Well, I think it's kind of twofold. It's like a lot of people that accept, I mean, you know, obviously you have a passion for comedy, but maybe at one time, or who knows. I mean, like a lot of these places, they like pass on through family members, or they get bought because somebody does know how to business comedy or business art of some kind. And if you're doing something that's working, somebody else will probably notice, whether that deal gets made and nobody really talks about it ever again. And then it's like, you know, like over the pandemic, like Second City got bought, and it's like such a legendary institution. And I was like, oh man, like I can't believe. And then I looked into it, and one guy bought Second City like 5 years in, like the Compass player or whoever the hell. I forget. The original founders, the artists that started Second City, had something that was going well. It got bought. It became a huge franchise under this 50-year term, and then that guy just sold it off. So like that was his career, or a big part of his career, or a part. You know, who knows? So you could be a giant conglomerate and own a small comedy club. I think the Punchline in Cobb's in San Francisco, what happened there was like 2 competing clubs in town, something like that. And then they both got bought by a local promoter, and then that kept getting bought. And now they're owned by Live Nation. And it's like this legendary, cool, romanticized club, but it's been corporate owned as kind of that's our comedy club brand for a while, you know?
Do you guys like comedy clubs in general?
I've
I've never been inside.
As like the place for your art form.
Yeah, I think.
Like, do you think it's the
I
ideal
prefer
place for your art form?
comedy clubs and black box theaters for the type of performance that I generally like to do. But that's.
And people gotta wear the ponchos.
Yeah. For me.
What about like
As long as
places
watermelons
like our
are-
spot that are like kind of like not made for comedy, but they're
Alt
for
rooms.
alt rooms.
I like alt rooms a lot. Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, like Deep Space has a lot of really good creative spaces. I mean, I think it's kind of one of those things that just, I mean, it just speaks to what you guys have all been doing, obviously, because it's just like putting care into it, putting that extra thought into it, instead of being like, let's do it, you know, in this corner, do it in that corner kind of thing.
Do you think that alt rooms are a potential alternative to the traditional comedy club, like this
Pandemic
kind of?
broke that out.
Well, what are you trying to
outdoors.
accomplish? An alternative? What's the end goal?
Well, I guess that's where like alt room being, you know, this space that's maybe it's like this space, like it's a production studio. It's like it has this multi-use for kind of creatives that get that like what you're doing and you're going to do regardless, and you're trying to figure it out. And
I think there's a lot to be said for it. I think also like there should or would be great for there to be a long-term plan, or if there was some sort of long-term thing. I think like what happens is we start to, I don't know, I think like as far as venues, like is an alternative venue a viable thing? Like if you're embracing an alternative venue, I mean, like what's stopping anybody from making a place called Alternative Venue and they do events of all kinds?
What's
Right.
stopping any? Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you, it's complicated to know that many types of art forms. So let's
Right.
say you want to do music and comedy and live podcasts
Master of
and
them.
art, and not only do you need to know so many different types of artists, you know, I mean, how many painters are there? How many sculptors are there, right? That's probably incredibly complicated. We deal the same thing with like comics now,
No
like booking
sculptors.
bands.
Too much dust.
Whole
with those
other
guys.
thing, booking bands. Booking bands is a lot of people at once. They usually don't play for a full hour, so you have to have multiple bands. I've never really booked bands, and it's crazy complicated.
But
Their
the guy
production is
does all
higher.
the instruments.
So
He
now
does
you
them
need
all.
people that know how to do all these things. If I'm learning how to do all the camera work and all the lights and sound, and then I also have to know how to like hang a fucking canvas up, like honestly, it's a lot. So
It's overwhelming.
people don't do that. Like you would probably make some sort of wave.
so we're crazy.
No, well,
That's a good place to end it.
yeah.
We're at it over maybe close to an hour.
Is
Was
that
it?
we are? Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
You guys got to come back and just chat.
Anytime.
Yeah,
This was fun.
Definitely. I think we got somewhere.
yeah.
You know,
Spend money. That's what they said. The art people said spend money.
the money's big.
You know what I realized you guys need? We were talking, I thought that was part of it too. What you need?
What?
Curtain.
Ooh, a curtain.
A curtain, not bad.
Put it
for
on
the
the
window.
board.
I like
Why-
that people can
why?
see it.
We review the board
Wait, a
tomorrow
curtain there.
morning.
Yeah.
We review the board on day 11. Curtain. Tour curtain.
They can't see it on the camera, but there's a window over there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you guys for being here.
Welcome. Thanks for having us.
Oh.
See you next time. Jokenoise.
Taglines.
Jokenoise.
Jokenoise.
Joke
Yeah,
noise.